reminder. Good afternoon, beloved community. I am Catherine Rowley, a longtime member of this congregation and presently the chair of the worship committee. On behalf of MVUUC, I extend a warm and heartfelt welcome to all who have come to celebrate with us today. Welcome members of Unitarian Universalist clergy. Welcome clergy and religious leaders from our esteemed interfaith community. Welcome friends and family and members of our wider community. Welcome all who have come to participate in and to witness the installation of the Reverend Maggie Yenoki, who has chosen and been chosen as the settled minister of Monte Vista Unitarian Universalist congregation. Welcome into this sanctuary of love and peace. Your presence honors us. You gift us with the strength that can only be found when community comes together in love. On this auspicious day of the spring equinox, when Earth is perfectly in balance, let us lay our burdens aside for a few hours. Let us rest our troubled minds. Let our hearts raise up in joy. Let us relish and treasure this moment in time. Grateful for the opportunity to be together in peace and safety. Mindful that such is not the case for many in a world that is increasingly filled with violence, hatred, injustice, and suffering. In this ritual of commitment between a congregation and a minister, may we co-create a ripple of goodness and love that will grow in strength, and through the work we will all do together, spread out to help mend a hurting world. Welcome, one and all.
I am Kathleen Reeves, and I will be guiding you through the service today. Let us put our hearts in a space beyond time, in the past, the present, and the future, as the bowl is rung 3 times. Once for those who came before, the Tongva people who were the original stewards of this land and called it home long ago. We also honor our ancestors and our founding members who imagined and planted this thriving congregation 70 years ago. Once, for those of us here and now, for our members, friends, and visitors, our staff, and our extended UU family who hold, care, and grow this beloved community we know as our own. And once, for those who will come to find belonging with us and call MVUUC their spiritual home in the days ahead. And now for our chalice lighting, I call forward George and Maggie Yenoki.
The flaming chalice is a symbol of our Unitarian Universalist faith, yet it has no established meaning. It represents the spirit of life, the flame of hope, and for some, a symbol of oneness. For Jewish refugees fleeing Nazi Germany, it existed first as the stamp of a letterhead on stationery. It might have been seen pinned to the lapel of one who was helping with that escape, marking them as safe to confide in. But over the years, it has become a living flame, a flame that remains in our hearts, reminding us of this history and of our call to service always. As a gift given by George and I to this congregation, we present this chalice. Designed and created by our sibling in faith, Mordecai Roth, in honor of our covenant of shared ministry that we make this day. May this flame we now light fire our passions and fuel our work as we are called forward together to serve the world in love and in compassion. Yeah.
Now, please stand in body or spirit as we sing together, Spirit of Life. The words will be on the screen. And now I call Alan Worley forward to tell us about the Contract to Call Committee.
I'm Alan Worley, President of the Board of Trustees, and ended up as chair of the Contract to Call Committee, which we abbreviated to C2C. Everything was C2C. This is not why we're here, but how we got here. Our first introduction to Reverend Maggie was about 2018 when she was an intern minister here. And her internship ended, and we didn't see much of her. And suddenly, in January of 2020, we needed a minister. Boom. So the board asked, congregants told us, get Reverend Maggie. So we offered her a 5-month contract as a gap minister and moved ahead. She spoke in the pulpit a couple times, and then COVID happened, and we went silent. No, we didn't. Maggie knew about Zoom. Boom! We were up and running again. And we had Sunday services, and we had Thursday night happy hour, and we kept our community together because Maggie was all over the place, keeping us together. Well, this went on. We renewed her contract, and people started mumbling, why don't we just hire Reverend Maggie full-time? Why don't we just call her to be minister? Okay, we'll look into it. Oops, we had a minor problem. Our bylaws said we had to have a fellow minister, fellow with the UUA. Oh, what do we do? Panic, panic. Nope. People stepped up. They rewrote the bylaws. That was a process. So in June of 21, for July 1st, we offered her a 1-year contract on contract to call. Now we were going, what's contract to call? Oh, that's kind of like a ministerial search, but you've already decided on the outcome. Okay, we like that. That should be a breeze. After all, I was on a search committee. Jean was on a search committee. Terry was on a search committee. We knew how to do this search committee stuff. Well, we started on the bylaws task force worked and worked. Come about July 1st, thereabout, we got together with Reverend Rick Hoyt McDaniels, and he kind of guided us through the process. Always got to have an advisor, a mentor. He led us through. July, the bylaws task force is still chugging away. August, we start having small group meetings on Zoom. And these, we learned a few things. Ooh, people had thoughts about stuff that we hadn't considered. Okay, write that down. September of 21, we published an online survey, and we got, 32, 34 responses out of a membership of 46. So we had a good response, and we learned some more stuff. Put that all together. Come October, vote on the bylaws. Dread, fear, what's going to happen? Passed unanimous. Boom. Move on, November. We have the vote to call Reverend Maggie again. Can we get a quorum? Between in person and on Zoom, we had a quorum. We voted. It was unanimous. Maggie was called to our ministry, and she's here. And of course, right after that happens, you get a COVID surge, and we go back to the Zoom world. But in February, we came back, and now we're here. So Thank you and welcome.
And now I would like to call forward Reverend Dr. Ben and Dr. Teresa Ellis.
Teresa and I have known Maggie for about 13 years now. We met when Teresa and Maggie were in seminary together at Drew University in New Jersey. We've been asked to give a brief account of how Pastor Maggie got here, or the long and winding road. In order to avoid a eulogy or similar account of her life, I am turning to the expansive wisdom of none other than Dr. Seuss. We are using this book, Seussisms, A Guide to Life for those who are just starting out and those already on their way, as a means to expound on the illustrious life of Reverend Maggie Yenoki. This book of advice and inspiration, this is a book of advice and inspiration, which we can use from time to time. Hold on. We'll let it peek over the top here.
This is from Oh, the Places You'll Go. You have brains in your head. You have feet in your shoes. You can steer yourself any direction you choose. You're on your own, and you know what you know, and you are the gal who'll decide where to go. Well, Maggie has been called to this time and to this work. Yes, she has chosen, but she has chosen based on the inspiration of the Spirit and by the exhortation of her close friends. She is being true to herself and to her call. Reverend Maggie's call initially led her to chaplaincy work, and in order to do that, she needed a graduate degree. The Spirit led her to Drew's Theological School, where she earned her Master's of Divinity, which she completed just a couple of months after the death of her husband, Robert. In 2012, Maggie moved to California, where she met George at the Troop Unitarian Universalist Church, and they have been married for 8 years now. Maggie's son, Nick, is married to the lovely Mary, and together they parent the joy of Maggie's life, Wilder. Please ask her to see pictures.
You don't have to ask.
From There's a Wocket in My Pocket. But the yeps on the steps, they're great fun to have around. And so are many, many other friends that I've found. Maggie has countless friends, many of whom are here today. Throughout her time in New York, and then New Jersey, and then California, Maggie has made friends because she is a true friend herself. Some of Maggie's friends have been gathered along the way in her ministry positions. Maggie interned at the UU Church in Morristown, New Jersey, was the pastor of the Sepulveda Unitarian Universalist Church, and she has been here with you for a little while now. We know that many of you already call her a friend.
This is from the Foot Book. Left foot, right foot, feet, feet, feet. How many, many feet you meet. This part of Maggie's journey isn't so much about meeting feet as it is about her learning to use her own feet. She has had the unique experience of having to learn to walk 3 different times. Once, like we all do, when she was a baby. Then one more time when she recovered from polio. And then, hopefully for the last time, when she had to learn to walk when she had both of her hips replaced at the same time. Good thing Maggie can walk now, because we all know she's busy and has lots of work to do.
From Happy Birthday to You. Shout loud, I am lucky to be what I am. Thank goodness I'm no just a clam or a ham, or a dusty old jar or sour juiceberry jam. I am what I am. That's a great thing to be. One of the defining characteristics of Maggie's ministry is that she has learned her own self-worth. She knows that she is being renewed each day, and she belongs. She belongs here in this place, and she is at home in her own skin.
I hope all of you are praying that we don't trip over this step doing this little thing that we're doing. I'm holding my own breath every time it happens. This is from the Lorax, of course. Unless someone like you cares a whole awful lot, nothing's going to get better. It's not. Maggie has a depth of compassion that has been taught to her by grief. Learning from grief, especially in the more recent years, Maggie has realized that her care for people and the world makes a difference. She trained as a death midwife and started an organization called Opening Death's Door, designed to help people transition from this life into the next. Maggie hosts group functions called Death Cafes, where she serves delicious shortbread cookies imprinted with little skulls. Taking the scary parts out of death and taking those scary parts less seriously has been an amazing comfort to all those that Maggie has touched.
From How the Grinch Stole Christmas. Then the Grinch thought of something he hadn't before. Maybe Christmas, he thought, doesn't come from a store. Maybe Christmas, perhaps, means a little bit more. When we talked with Maggie in our planning for today, Teresa asked her, what would you say is the defining characteristic of who you are as a minister? Without hesitation, Maggie said, seeing the sacred in everything, even in the dark places. Seeing the sacred in myself over time, and therefore seeing the sacred in others. Although Maggie has never been the Grinch, she has grown in her mind and her spirit to understand that all things mean a little bit more than we can simply explain, but that we can work together to embrace. Congratulations, Reverend Maggie Yenoki, on your place here at Monte Vista. May you continue to be a blessing to all those around you.
Would you like to stand? In rituals, there is almost always special clothes that we wear, and this is no exception. This garment here I've made for Maggie is called a scapular. It is historically a type of apron that was worn by monks and nuns, because often some of the work that they did involved needing an apron. Some of the work that Maggie will do here also involves needing an apron. In the Catholic Church, this style of scapular is called a small scapular. Leave it to the Catholics to really, get down to the fine points. Maggie was raised in the Catholic Church, so repurposing this garment for her own use is very fitting. The colors are of the rainbow, symbolizing the hope of the rainbow for our earth, the justice of the rainbow for the LGBTQ community, and the modern color scheme of the chakra. It is also the colors of the UU's Children's Promises, all of which are very appropriate. The yarn here is based on a scapular worn by a favorite professor at Drew, the Reverend Dr. Heather Elkins. Dr. Elkins is a Christian bodhisattva, if I can say that. And she was a pillar in Maggie's life during her time at Drew and even after. These fibers symbolize our connectedness. The peace that you received in your service, what's the word, Ellen? Order of service? Sorry, it's usually a bulletin, I don't know. In your order of service is yours to keep as a reminder of this day and of your connection. So, at this time, I would ask George Yenoki to please come forward. You can face the congregation. You can even hold hands with your beloved.
Whoa, risque.
George, you are a member of a rather exclusive club you and I belong to together, being the spouse of a clergy person. It is not like being the spouse of a person with just a regular job, with regular work hours and regular stresses. This is very different. It is not an easy position, but it has its rewards. The Buddha said, when you realize how perfect everything is, you will tilt your head back and laugh at the sky. Buddha was not talking about the perfection we think of. Instead, he was talking about how when wisdom and peace are in the forefront of our mind, things are perfect. You did not ask for this position, George, but you have accepted it with grace and humor. Let us take a moment of silence to offer our own blessings for George at this time. My hope for you, George, is that you will continue to seek out wisdom and peace, and even some grace and good humor, so that you will have many opportunities to tilt your head back and laugh at the sky, because it will all be so perfect. Thank you.
And now I'd like to call Robert Tidwell forward, our Director of Lifespan Religious Exploration.
Hello, everybody. I'm Robert Tidwell, the Director of Lifespan Religious Exploration here at Monte Vista, and I've been in this position for a little over a year now. But I've been coming to Monte Vista for closer to 15 years, and when I was asked to speak about today and at this event, Maggie said, "Don't talk about me. Everybody's going to be talking about me. Talk about the church." So I said, "Okay, what is Monte Vista to me?" Well, it's my home, and when I say that, I mean that pretty literally. I was speaking earlier today with Alan about how we've slept on the floor in the founder's room with the teenagers multiple times, many times, at sleepovers and other events. And we've eaten on the patio more times than I can count. We've been on the grounds cleaning up after the windows were smashed with rocks, and we've done so much around these grounds that it is our home. And what makes it a home isn't the building, and it's not the what I would call housekeeping, the picking up and cleaning. It's the community that we've built and the friendships that we've made. And when Maggie, sorry, I'm gonna talk about you two a little bit. When you first came here as the intern, I spent most of my time down in YRUU, so I didn't really get to know you that well. And since you've been back, we've built a really strong friendship, I think, and I've had a great pleasure working with you. And I hope that when I say this to you now, that this is my home, I hope you know that it's our home, and that you've chosen to make this your home means a lot to me personally, and also to our children's program. We have several children in our program. One of them was able to come up with me today, and I just wanted to bring them up to give you what is our traditional housewarming present, since I'm calling this a homecoming. It's a potted plant, and this plant, we spent a Sunday morning going through looking for the perfect one. We had chosen a larger size. Unfortunately, this is the size we have right now, but this will grow into a very strong oak tree that's native to California and is drought resistant, and will be planted in the Shire at our Earth Day service next month. The Shire, for those of you who don't know, is an area that the children have played in next to our shed as long as I can remember. And I believe members of the community built it as a space that they could have. So it'll bring new life to that, and it'll grow strong, and it'll be a permanent reminder of the time that you have here and what's going to develop and come. It was titled in the order of service, roots and growing, and that's exactly what this tree is going to represent. The roots will dig deeper into the ground and bind to the earth, and the tree will grow, hopefully very large, and provide a lot of shade and a lot of comfort to the natural life around here, who we can hear right now, the birds singing, just as you do for us here in the church. So with that, here's your tree from the RE Council, from the RE program, all the children. We're just so excited to have you here, and welcome home.
And now I would like to call forward our beloved Minister Emerita, Ellen Livingston, and our amazing fabric artist, Maria Wortham. And you'll see why I call Maria an artist.
This is not in your order of service. Can you hear me all right without it?
Yeah, you need to go on the mic. Okay. Just for the Zoom people.
Oh, okay.
My son is on Zoom too.
All right. This is a part of our service that's not on the order of service because it's a surprise. It's sort of a planned surprise. And you'll hear more why in a few minutes. So we need the recipient of this surprise to stand and for now to take off your scapula. Sorry, I hate to see her to take it off already, but it's kind of necessary.
If you'll come over here, Maggie, I think I can unmask for just a minute so I can sneak out. But, well,
Because you're in front of the projector.
this is a high-tech robe. It has these little snaps you can barely see and a separating zipper. So if you'll just step right here, and Ellen and I will help you into it as best we can. Hope it all goes well. And when, I just thought this would be kind of awkward to have everyone watching me do the zipper.
It fits.
So, let's see.
And this part.
Yeah, I think we're going to have one of the best dressed ministers in all of this. Okay. So, oh, I'm so happy the zipper worked. It always is terrifying. Okay.
Yeah, I'm going to tell the story. You turn around.
Okay, now you can turn around.
Okay, there's a story. This is no ordinary.
Yeah, I share a little thing. If you don't mind, I'm going to step in. Ellen.
Okay, and then I'll go. All right.
I had a little extra room and I came over the other day to, put it all together and do kind of a final check. And I said, Maggie, I have room for maybe one. I was thinking maybe, is there an animal? I'm thinking a spirit animal, a little bird or a turtle or something like that. And she said, yes, I have a Yorkie. So I don't think I need to explain to you anything about the symbolism of the tree, which they told me would be important for today, but I had a little trouble with this area, right? This one particular fabric, I don't know, it didn't go in well, and I had to do extra of it. And I never know. I start with the material and start just messing with it. I don't make a plan where I draw ahead or anything for this kind of thing. So I got here and I found out that I had incorporated wood chips. If you saw those big stacks of wood chips out there they are. They showed up in the work. Okay,
Okay, I just wanted to tell you a little bit about the background of that special robe. One morning after the service, we were standing around chatting at coffee hour, and I had Maggie to herself, and I said, I have a robe that's been hanging in my closet for quite a while. It means a lot to me, but I don't have an opportunity to wear it anymore. And it goes back to my serving the congregation in UU congregation in Park Forest, Illinois, suburb of Chicago. Somebody's nodding. You've heard of it. Yay. And I went there as my first church. I didn't have much in the way of ministerial clothes. I had no robe. And I was ordained there. In those days, ministers were more likely to be ordained in the church they go to first. And at the end of a service, about 3 weeks before my ordination, the president of the congregation came out with this robe from behind the curtains. So it's pretty old, but it's still in good condition because I've only had to, have it dry cleaned a few times and haven't worn it out because, unlike New England ministers, they do wear out there. It's a little more formal. So when I told Maggie that I would like to give it to some, aspiring student, and I wondered, if she knew of any, and she looked at me like, well, I don't have a black robe. And I said, then you're the recipient. And here we are. And I said, I think I'm going to use it in some kind of special ritual. And so just forget about it. We'll do it later, okay? And here we are. Yay. Yeah, it's such an honor. Yeah. I know you will, yeah. So my task today is to speak to you about our shared ministry. So I start with this story. One Sunday morning, a husband was making breakfast when he realized there were no sounds of activity in the upstairs bedroom. So he went upstairs and knocked on the door. "Come in," said a sleepy voice. He opened the door and saw that his wife was still in bed. "Oh, honey," he said, "you have to get up. It's time for church. Hurry up," came the plea from within. "Oh, I don't want to go to church today." "Why?" he asked. "Oh, because I'm too tired. I just don't want to. Some of the people there aren't very friendly to me. Kids run all over the place, and the people on the board of trustees think they're so special." "Oh, but honey," the husband says, "you have to go. You are the minister." Well, after I told that story here many years ago, my family had fun with it. If I ever expressed any reservations about my duties as minister, they would remind me, especially my dear sweet husband, Nick, "You are the minister. You have to do it." That was all in fun, of course. And Maggie, we know so well you are our minister, as you have proved so nobly, as your biographers have told us. Yes. And you do not need husband George to get you out of bed on Sunday morning, I don't think. And I do not need to remind all of us who care about our faith that ministry is not the private domain of a small number of professionals. Ministry is what we do together. Early on in my ministry, I had a marvelous elder mentor, the Reverend Gordon McKeeman, who came on strong on this topic. Ministry is what we do together as we celebrate the triumphs of the human spirit, the miracles of birth and life, the wonders of devotion and sacrifice, while we say yes to life. And it's another mentor of mine, Dr. James Luther Adams, and it joins us. All believers, all of us, are prophets and priests of our Unitarian Universalist faith. And yet, We who minister know that as hard as we may try, it is never quite enough. We need help sometimes. Yes, we are assured that the lost can be found, divisions reunited, psychic wounds healed. We have managed to do that through the many challenges and vicissitudes of our congregation. Ministry is a quality of relationship that happens inside and outside our places of worship. In our homes, our workplaces, schools, and even shopping malls. We are available to be present to others in their grief, in their insecurity, and in their confusion, as well as in their joys and breakthroughs and growth. I'm speaking of the sharing of feelings of empathy. And the action item for that is merely our presence. I speak of being the best we know how to be, while accepting that our actions may not be as unconditional or as perfect as we might have wanted them to be. Indeed, while saying yes to life, we have our physical and emotional limits. We are not perfect. We are human, and sometimes the one most in need of ministry is oneself. I know that from experience. So, Reverend Yenoki, best dressed minister in the county, as you have put on that robe and stole, as we have given it to you, you know these are symbols of your role in our lives. These symbols are sacred because they represent the carrying forward of a long heritage of religious freedom, of, heresy, and liberation of the human spirit over many centuries, and in unbroken line. You can do it. Si se puede. We can do it. And yet, remember, wherever there is a moment that summons any of us to our braver, higher selves, to the God within us, no matter what symbols we carry or wear, there is ministry. There is ministry. In other words, we invite ourselves and each other into a more reverent, deeper relationship to the world. When we are called to do this, we answer, I am here. We are here. Yes. There are times, my friends, when we are called to serve as ministers to each other, to our world, God knows, to our world. This is what we do together. And may we be blessed in doing it. Now, should I go up the other way or over here? Yeah.
And now for the charges to the minister, I call forward Reverend Rick Hoyt McDaniels and Reverend Tara Landers.
You can do this.
Hello. Hi.
You.
There?
I think we're going to look at you, so you can stand there and look at us. We'll give you the pleasure. I'm sorry we have no gifts to give you. It's like we forgot.
Here, we're giving you
Yeah,
another.
yeah. I have a handkerchief. We've all heard a million of these, right? Charges to the minister. We know exactly what they are going to say.
Do your best. Follow your heart. Concentrate on what is necessary and possible. And Maggie, just let the rest go.
But these days, we need a little bit more than that. These are extraordinary times. As Susan Frederick Gray says, this is no time for a casual faith.
We need real saints in our churches, Maggie. Not just ministers. We need magic and miracles, wizards and healers.
We need heroes and heroines in our world, prophets and persuaders in our pulpits, once in a generation geniuses. We need you, Maggie. This is time for a casual faith, Maggie, so we're going to charge you to really step it up. To really be the minister that we need, that Monte Vista needs, but really the whole world needs.
So, as the newly settled minister for the Monte Vista Unitarian Universalist congregation,
We charge you, find a home for every homeless person in Los Angeles County. It's time.
and a friend for every lonely person,
And a job for every unemployed person,
and a helper for every stressed out, overwhelmed person,
and an effective low-cost rehab program for folks suffering from addictions.
and effective mental health care for folks with mental illness.
Maggie, this is no time for a casual faith. We charge you to bring back politeness and manners.
And get people to dress better.
We charge you to inspire young people to respect their elders.
And old folks to recognize and celebrate the exuberant innovations of youth.
Okay, so remove all the graffiti,
Pick up all the trash,
clean water,
clean air,
less traffic.
more 3-day weekends.
Find a bar that makes a good dry martini and then tell me where it is.
And not too expensive hair salon.
And a non-greasy daily moisturizer that has SPF 15.
And dresses that say powerful female pastor that have pockets.
Maggie, we charge you to get people to eat right,
Exercise more.
make the sad people happy,
And the angry people calm.
and the bored people entertained,
And the greedy people generous.
end fear,
End poverty.
end hate.
End the patriarchy.
This is no time for a casual faith, Maggie. So in these last few weeks of the rainy season, do your minister magic to bring down just the right amount of rain and snow in the western U.S. to end this drought.
But without flooding or having any fewer sunny days. You can do that, right?
Right. Then raise all the money we need to finally complete the bullet train from Los Angeles to San Francisco.
And Las Vegas.
Now, Maggie, we know that this is a lot, but these are extraordinary times, and you're no ordinary minister.
Maggie, this is no time for a casual faith. We charge you to be extraordinary.
Bring peace to the Ukraine,
Rights for women in Afghanistan.
democracy in Russia,
Equality of the races.
income equality for everyone,
Equality of the sexes.
cure COVID, cancer, heart disease, strokes,
Reverse climate change.
bring back problem solving in politics,
Bring back reason and goodwill and civil discourse.
devise a financial model for our news media and social media that encourages respect, broad points of view, truth-telling, and optimism.
More cute cat videos.
Seriously, though, Maggie, we charge you to double the size of every UU congregation in our area.
And start 10 new ones.
Grow a new generation of UU young people who are excited to be lifelong UUs.
Create a Unitarian Universalism for the future that keeps everything the same.
Plant habitats for butterflies.
Plant vegetables.
Grow souls.
Grow trees.
Save endangered species.
Bring back extinct species.
Preach without being preachy.
Lead boldly without taking over.
Add excitement to our music and worship.
But don't make us sing new hymns.
Better coffee during coffee hour.
And vegan snacks.
So that should probably take you through what, June?
Yeah, into June, right? No problem.
Yeah, and then in July, self-care.
Yeah, self-care is so important. So when July rolls around, take a day off.
Take a week off. Take a week off. You deserve it.
Take a nap.
In July.
Take a trip with George to the beach.
In July.
Read a book, get a massage. That should do it.
And then in August, heal the world.
Without exhausting yourself. And Maggie, if this charge starts to feel like a little too much, even for such an extraordinary minister,
If you're starting to feel like it would be nice if you could go back to having a more casual faith,
remember that your colleagues and Rick and I will be right here
encouraging you to
to
get back to work.
And now, Cups, the Circle of Unitarian Universalist Pagans, has something special for you, Maggie.
It is with great joy. First, let me do this. It is with great joy and deep gratitude that we are here today to welcome our beloved Reverend Maggie at long last as our settled minister. She has been an inspiration and a mainstay, not only for the MVUUC community as a whole, but also to our pagan fellowship, Cups. While we have always been active through MVUUC's long saga to find a settled minister, not since Reverend Ellen, who founded our group, have we been embraced so fully. Therefore, it is with love and gratitude that we make our presentation. I'm going to give you this for now also. I'm reading from a script so I don't talk too long. This Reverend Maggie doesn't know. Reverend Cat, will you lead Maggie to the portal? I think, let's turn sideways so people can see. Reverend Maggie, this morning we celebrated Ostara, the spring equinox, by passing through this portal, symbolically leaving behind the problems encountered in the dark time of winter as we step forward into the brightness of spring. This afternoon, we ask you to step through it once more to symbolize your transition from contract to a fully embraced and settled minister. Carry with you our love and best wishes to receive our special blessing. Know that we greet this day with the greatest of joy. Welcome to the other side, my love. Reverend Maggie, may you be one with the universe. I invoke the positive energies of Mother Earth and her forest Lord to bless you in body and in spirit, so that you may continue to guide us with wisdom, peace, and love, even when it requires tough love. May your days be filled with hope and cheer. Let only honesty and truth and joy come near, with blessings given and received. Walk in beauty and harmony, word and deed. Blessed be. Present you with a special gift. Throughout your life, the goddess of St. Bridget has been a guiding force in your life. This portrait of Bridget bears a special poignant meaning. It was painted by Nancy Rutherford several years ago, and after much pleading, I begged her to sell it to me. Finally, I persuaded her. As you may know, or may not, Nancy passed away a little more than a week ago. I find it fitting that it is her work we are presenting. Our beloved curmudgeon would approve. I spent several, and I've had the painting for several years. I spent futile attempts to find a place to hang it in my house, then gave up. A few weeks ago, Bridget chimed in and informed me that there was no place in my house where she wanted to hang. which is why I couldn't find one. I've been waiting for Maggie, she commanded. Reverend Maggie, following Bridget's orders, Cups would like to present you with the portrait of Bridget.
And now, please stand in body or spirit and sing. We are dancing Sarah's Circle. There's an insert in your order of service. And now the staff of MVUUC has something special for Reverend Maggie.
Okay. Hello, everyone. I don't know how we follow all these distinguished guests, but we, as a staff, want to say that it is an honor to be here with you today and to be part of your journey. We have our thoughts and memories that we kind of put together and kind of had thrown them in the air and everything. And we wanted to share them with you. So we were trying to figure out how to get it together. And Maribel and Debbie came up with this beautiful sonnet. Yay. And so it is our honor to present to you today the sonnet.
Hi, I'm Tracy. So I'm the bookkeeper here at MVUUC. And this is our sonnet for Reverend Maggie. Reverend Maggie's Garden. We are a garden rooted and growing. Our gardener nurtures us with her loving presence.
Hi, and I know a lot of people know me, Joyce. And she encourages our roots to reach deep, choosing paths of compassion and caring.
Hello, I'm Jarius. Joyfully, leaves stretched towards sun, serenity, and peace. She ministers through blight and blinding storm.
Providing space, freedom to flower and flourish, we blossom as she cultivates healing and hears our hearts.
Mindfully nourished on Monte Vista soil, our green abundance creates fertile foundation for future harvests.
Grateful for Reverend Maggie's patience and devotion. Happily, our garden is rooted and growing.
And now I would like to call forward Letha Comstock and Laura Mulroy for Lifespan Religious Exploration.
I'm Letha Comstock, and I am the Children's RE Chair. I have something written, but on a personal note to start with, I want to say I have been so appreciative, Reverend Maggie, of your support with our RE program and our bingo games online and in person. It's been so much fun. But as we welcome you today, Reverend Maggie, as our settled minister, the Children's RE program, Religious Exploration, is thankful for your care for the RE and the children involved with the program. Reverend Maggie, you understand the importance of the Children's RE program, not only for the children, but for the MVUUC congregation. During our religious exploration classes, the children are taught the UU principles, or promises as they call them. They are also introduced to the sources the UA faith draws from. The children are encouraged to relate how each story is related to the promises and how the sources influence our UU faith. Reverend Maggie, the Children's RE Council and the children are delighted to welcome you as our settled minister. And as the children say at the end of every Sunday RE session, may we remember to be UU, not just when we're here together, but every day, in every way.
Hi, I'm Laura Mulroy, and I'm representing Adult Religious Exploration. We here at MVUUC know that learning about our faith and exploring our spirituality can and should engage us throughout our lives. From the foundation we establish with our children, we continue to learn and grow through youth, young adulthood, every stage of older adulthood. When Reverend Maggie came here as an intern minister, as you've heard, in 2018, she volunteered to join the then newly formed Adult Religious Exploration Committee. And we so appreciated her guidance, her support, and her involvement. She taught classes, she gave us ideas. It was a wonderful start to our group. Now that you're here as our settled minister, Reverend Maggie, we look forward to many meaningful years of religious exploration together.
Our good stewardship reflects the rootedness in our UU faith and our growth that brings healing to one another and the world. I invite those here in the sanctuary to give from your hearts. Today, our offering goes to Inland Valley Hope Partners Beta Center. Please make your checks out to MVUUC and put IVHP in the memo section. You can please come forward. We have a basket in front of the piano, and you can drop your checks or money as you feel called. And those in our Zoom sanctuary might find the link to donate online in the chat box. It's with grateful appreciation that our offerings will now be given and received. And now I'd like to call forward the Committee on Shared Ministry for the charges to the congregation.
We have one small change. Erin was not able to be here today, so my daughter Brianna kindly consented to read her parts of this. Actually, you're up first.
We, the Monte Vista Unitarian Universalist congregation, have voted unanimously to call the Reverend Margaret Burbank Yenoki as our settled minister. She has shown us her heart and proven that she is not one who will run at the first sign of trouble, nor is she here to serve as a doormat we wipe our feet on when things become messy. And if the recent past has anything for us to learn, we know that they will continue to become messy.
She has been called by this congregation, by her own heart and soul, by the Spirit of life, which we name in many ways, and by those of us gathered here to be our minister. We pause to sense how fortunate we all are as we begin this wonderful journey together into our future, as Reverend Maggie Burbank Yenoki is installed as our minister. She has a deep awareness of her high calling to lead you and to love you and to serve you.
Relationship is perhaps our most significant spiritual practice in Unitarian Universalism. It is hard, time-consuming, and sometimes fraught with difficulties. Remember that much of the work of a minister is attending to relationships, and that is often invisible to the eye, and only noticed in its absence or neglect. So may this installation be an outward sign of our inward commitment to relationship, not just to our new minister, but to one another, to our covenant, and to our greater good in the world that calls us out from our insularity and into engagement with the world. We have a threefold purpose in supporting our new minister. First, the most important task we have as a congregation is to covenant with Reverend Maggie, her family, and one another. Please respond to these things with "we will." Will you honor Reverend Maggie's devotion to her family? We will. Will you commit to nurturing Reverend Maggie's own spiritual growth? We will. Will you care for yourself, each other, and nurture the spiritual growth of the congregation? We will.
Second, we must participate alongside our minister. We do not call her to abandon her, but to build a congregation through a shared ministry. Please respond to these next with "we will." Will you help Maggie to tend the wounds of our congregation?
We will.
Will you share your ideas about congregational growth?
We will.
Will you participate in our congregation's outreach to the community?
We will.
Third, we must be committed to seeking truth and meaning in our personal lives and in the life of our congregation. Please respond to these with "we will." Will you open your heart and minds to new ideas?
We will.
Will you be willing to engage in difficult conversations?
We will.
Will you promise to continue seeking truth and meaning on our path?
We will.
And now I call forward Glory Batista.
Today is a special day. And given that I know you're expecting a great speech, like you just received, all of you, my goodness. But I am a chaplain. And what I come up with is great questions, not good sentences. And think days and days and days and days so that I can filter away a heavy focus on death and disorientation. So anyway, good afternoon, everyone. My name is Glory, and Maggie and I worked together at Methodist Hospital 8 years ago now. And I've had 2 conversations with Maggie in preparation for today, trying to wrap my head around how on earth I'm going to bridge the seemingly wide divide between my world of death and disorientation and yours. And in those conversations, I realized that this community, including Maggie, was in no way ordinary, and knew full well they were calling an interfaith death midwife as their congregational minister. No bridge was needed. It seems, if I may be so bold, that I am among family. Today is a special day. It's a day we celebrate the shared vision you and Maggie hold for your community. And in the words of John O'Donohue, it is such a relief and joy to find the vision that expresses and incarnates your spirit. Speaking personally, it makes for a rich and contented life. I'm told, and it was shared today, that it was a bit of a journey for your community to find the minister you needed for this season. that the time it took was filled with intention and care and persistence, and despite completing a discernment process and wanting to move ahead, that you soon discovered there was an unexpected roundabout that led you back to where you started, back to discerning all over again. Disruptions, whether they're people or bylaws like this, take time for the community to readjust and begin to heal. And maybe some of you are still in that process today. As challenging as these seasons are, the disorientation often cries out to us to return to what matters most. And in reflecting on that, you had the courage and inspiration to look outside the box for a leader who shared your heartbeat. Today is the celebration of your finding and your coming home, back to yourselves and to each other. It has been a journey up until now and will be one again tomorrow. But today is for pausing in the exact balance between light and dark, between what was and what will be, to recognize, name, and honor the commitment you are making to each other. Starting today and for the fullness of this season, however long it is meant to be, Maggie is now yours, and you are now Maggie's. To begin a new season from a place of disorientation takes wisdom and care. Wisdom to accept and to integrate the disorientation, and care to sustain you through the process. In Maggie's words, what this congregation needs for this new season is a minister with a chaplain's heart. And in installing Maggie, you've agreed. What is a chaplain's heart, though? Is it to possess a quality like compassion or mercy? Yes, that must be present. Is it a role or function like to be a healer? Partially, yes. Is it a gift you're born with? A skill set you've developed? I think the 14th century Persian poet Hafiz is close when he writes about the difference between a builder of cages and a key dropper. He says the small woman builds cages for everyone she knows, while the sage, who has to duck her head when the moon is low, keeps dropping keys all night long for the beautiful rowdy prisoners. Empowerment is also an aspect of a chaplain's heart, but all of these and none of these are really quite right. So what is a chaplain's heart? What is this unique quality that Maggie has, that this community has chosen for this new season together? Quote, out beyond ideas of wrongdoing and right-doing, there's a field. I'll meet you there. That's from Rumi. Out beyond ideas of wrongdoing and right-doing, there is a field. I'll meet you there. To me, this field is the closest description to a chaplain's heart I can offer you. Let me expand. A chaplain's heart is a field of encounter. It's free of judgment and full of courage. Courage enough for you to be listened into speech. It's a spacious field where one is offered unending opportunities to explore new ways of being and believing, where one can find and lose oneself in the source of life that connects us all, where one can be nurtured by other wanderers and by the shade of the trees and the song of the streams, and challenged to just action by the cries of the disenfranchised and the prophetic groans of the scorched and thirsty earth. It's a field of experimentation, so it's not without further disorientation and some fumbling, and sometimes the field needs to be a space where tension and conflict are worked through. But the winds of kindness and mercy are consistent and gentle, and uphold the worth and dignity of everybody in the field. Although it's more often a field of not knowing, it is also a field of finding and seeking, finding and seeking, seeking and finding, where form and freedom are partners in expression and differences are appreciated.
Ultimately, it's a field where one encounters love and attunement, and then draws upon that over and over and over until the truest sentences of your heart and minds coalesce into meaning, clarity, and zest. Does this sound like Maggie? Does this sound like you now, or who you long to be, what you long for? I believe that field lives in all of us, but it's not an easy place to inhabit or relate out of all of the time, because this field is characterized by radical vulnerability, a posture of mutuality where there's openness to change because of the inherent value of the other, and a commitment to empowerment. And our relationships and experiences throughout life teach us it is not always safe to relate from there. Our own particularities create challenge and conflict. We misunderstand and injure each other without apology. So we learn to tuck it, that field, deep down into far away crevices, closing it off from the damage of harsh and unrelenting winds behind the security of a large and locked door. It is worthy of protecting. But some, who have been especially harmed, forget where they placed the key, or throw it away altogether, developing strategies of disconnection that become channels of pain for themselves and others, and if left unhealed, turn into generations and systems of oppression and hatred of the self and of others. No, it is not always safe. These are the most lonely moments, when we are most in need of the safety and renewal of the field, but somehow forget how to find our way back and the truths that we once learned there, that we're meant to love and be loved, to forgive and be forgiven, to grow and be grown. These are hard seasons, and many around us don't know how to climb over our walls of protective anger and pain, and their distance and incompetency alongside our fear and resistance further solidify the myths that we are alone and unloved. But the chaplain's heart has eyes to see and ears to hear the ways, even in our hiding, we are still caught up by the source of life itself, who waits and waits, holding us with tender patience until one day we encounter anew the people and spaces that will teach us how, when, and where we've hidden our own keys. They're the key droppers. Their quality of presence reminds us of our worth and freedom and longing. And if we are lucky, hope returns to our bones and fosters a flicker that becomes a flame, that becomes a fire that fuels action. As of today, you have chosen Maggie to become the master key for this community, your chosen guide, the one meant to care for each of you as you seek to find, to free, to heal, and to expand your field. And guide she can. For those who wander deep enough into and beyond the field, they will find an ocean, and on that rocky coast, the sages gather there to tend to the oyster beds. To be trusted with such treasure, a sage must have already attained the key that the oyster gives, the key of acceptance and integration. How does one attain that key? The same way a pearl is made. While seeking nourishment, an oyster mistakenly takes into its flesh a grain of sand that causes it great discomfort. It senses the sand to be an intruder, and the oyster attempts to dislodge and eject the irritant. When the oyster realizes it is unable to do so, the oyster's body coats the sand with nacre to reduce the irritation and discomfort. If that layer is not sufficient, several more layers will be created. In time, the oyster's painful intruder becomes a beautiful iridescent pearl, leaving us to marvel and remark time and again, it's incredible what can come from dust, isn't it? A pearl is evidence of the oyster's hard work of acceptance and integration. As you may know, Maggie, as we call her, was born as Margaret. The name is of Greek origin, and in that language means pearl. But pearl is not just a name, but a burden and a hope that was born from her own disorientation and suffering, and eventually transformed through critical self-reflection, the love and mercy of many around her, and the healing winds of the ceaseless working and ally who wants for her and all of us the very best. Sages are the ones who have learned what one of my students in summer of 2020, who ironically happens to be here today, so aptly summarized in his final evaluation. His words, he says, "The most powerful way to invite somebody to be present in the moment is by being present yourself. The bottom line is that the only way to provide a platform for somebody to courageously meet their pain is to have had the courage to greet my own and sit with it. If I expect someone to be vulnerable in my presence, I must also be able to be vulnerable in my own presence and that of others. To support others in their grief, I must be able to experience my own and the support of others in that process. I cannot do for others what I cannot do for myself, and I cannot expect others to do what I have not done." It sounds deceptively simple, but it takes incredible emotional resilience and strength to do these things, and that is the spiritual practice in and of itself. In the 8 years I have known Maggie, I can assure you, Maggie has done the hard work of examining, engaging, and integrating the irritants and intruders in her own life. This critical self-reflection and self-development has enabled her to find appreciation for her own internal landscape, and in so doing has created a spacious field within herself that is ready for you to more deeply understand and intentionally operate out of your own. She is not perfect. She is not all-knowing, but she is kind and attuned and wise. Or, I hear, in the words of one of you, she is the Ted Lasso of ministers. She's ready and as imperfect as she will be for your journey together. Tomorrow, your journey begins again. You have your guide, you have your vision. It is time to, quote, "do the work your soul must have," says Dr. Katie Geneva Cannon. Yes, agreed Howard Thurman, this world is hungry for the sound of the genuine. May Maggie's brilliance and wisdom become light for your path so that your brilliance and wisdom become balm for this community and for the world and create ripples that flow out into and create a better, more whole world for all of us. Amen.
So you may have noticed the cairns that are on the altar here. They are not finished. We are going to finish them together. And there's a basket of stones. Would somebody please roll those forward? And we are going to build a cairn because it takes all of us to build this ministry. Symbolically, we are placing stones around the cairn to support it and make it stronger. This we do together as a congregation to mark a sacred moment, a sacred commitment. And so I call you forward as you are able to add a stone to the base of the cairn. Something here. Something was built stone by stone, relationship by relationship, with sturdy walls and trust. This building is an ongoing commitment that takes many hands. Nurture this ministry well, tend to it. Something sacred happened here. A blessing, a transformation, a little bit of magic. These are the things held in the heart that cannot be seen with the eye, yet we know they exist. Love, compassion, respect, dedication. These fill in between spaces with invisible mortar, holding us together. Yes, like magic. Something sacred happened here. This congregation said yes. Maggie said yes. And today, we honor those yeses. Each stone in the cairn is a yes. Each smile is a yes. Each moment forward is a yes. Something sacred happened here. Yes, something wonderful, magical, and sacred happened here.
It's mine. Hi, everyone. Oh. the strength of this community give each of us courage. May the courage of this community feed our passionate hearts. And may the passion of this community make us one to love and serve the world and turn it towards love. Blessed be, and amen. Has left the building, kind of. I will introduce our next song. I'm going to invite everyone to stand up, and if you are familiar with this song, Blue Boat Home, please stand up and sing it with all of your might and all of your heart. It's very familiar to those of us that are Unitarian Universalists, and for others, we'll carry you along on our Blue Boat Home.